travel nurse and save you from burnout? I'm going to tell you everything I know from 26 years of nursing in facilities, traveling, and doing all kinds of things. We're going to unbox it so you make the best decision possible. Let's go. So, have you ever felt overwhelmed, tired, just feeling lost and isolated? Anybody ever accused you of being burnout? Are you feeling stuck, frustrated, looking for answers? What does burnout really look like after all? We talk a lot about it. Well, by definition, it's emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. Yeah, that qualifies. It's a decreased motivation, increased irritability. Well, that's most of us every day. If we want to talk about signs and symptoms, we're real good at that. It's a headache, fatigue, poor concentration, emotional withdrawal. Well, we all classify that sometimes too. There's just so many things. What are our options? Many doors, many choices are available to all of us, whether it's travel or just a change of scenery. What about another department? What about another unit? What about another specialty? In the same building, in a different setting. We've got options. But you see all those people traveling, they look like they're having a blast. They're going off and flying off into the sunset, and you just want to know what it's about. Let's talk about what it's about. Can travel nursing cure burnout? Let's talk about what travel nursing is. It has its rewards and its fulfillment. There's people, places, faces, adventures, all kinds of things that are rewarding and different. And it changes a lot. Every 8 to 13 weeks, you might have a 26 week assignment occasionally. There's some costs and some demands. There's an expense. You've got to have all kinds of things in place before you go travel. There's loss of time with your family and friends. What about the things you miss when you're not home? What about the expense of keeping up with a place to live while you're traveling and working, and a place to call home when you get off or when you come home? There's some work to be put into it too before you decide to get on that plane and fly off into the sunset to go travel in all these wonderful places. There's some things you got to do. Do you have all the certifications you need? Have you put in the work? Do you have it all together? Do you have all your vaccines? What about your licensure in the states, the places you want to go? You got to get all the things done. Get your stuff together. And then, just maybe then, you might be ready to look for a job. And, that's its own ball of wax. That's its own headache. You got to look at job boards. You got to figure out what you want to do. You got to figure out where you want to go, and is it really worth it? First, you have to get a contract. Then you get an agency. Now, when you decide on a contract, it just means you've been shopping for a little while. You've been looking at job boards, you've been looking at agency jobs, and you've found one for a price and a location that you like. You don't know anything about the hospital, you don't know anything about the charting system, you don't know anything about anything until you talk to a recruiter. And a recruiter is that agency who owns the contract, that's their gatekeeper, and so if you really want to go, and you really got to know, then you really got to talk and make a relationship important with that recruiter, because they are the ones that are going to present you or submit you to the facility. And they want somebody who's going to easily blend into their system and into their workflow without causing a whole lot of ripples. That means you can't ask for a whole bunch of time off. I mean, you can ask, but you're not going to get the contract if you do. And you have to be able to adapt, use their equipment, use their processes to do your job. In other words, you got to hit the ground running. You can't be saying, oh, I don't know how to do this, and oh, I don't know how to do that, and that is just not going to fly. They will let you go in a heartbeat. Because I'm going to tell you, travel nursing has its perks, and we're going to talk about those. But the first thing you need to understand, and it is very easy for a facility to get rid of a travel nurse, way easier than it is for them to get rid of a full-time employee. All they have to do is say, this contract is not working out for us anymore, and you are gone, darling. Gone. There is no guarantee that they won't cancel your contract before you get there, or adjust your working hours or your schedule or something like that while you're there. It's up to them to run their facility the best way they see fit, and it's up to you to decide if it works for you, or you just need to cut your losses and leave. I've done both. I've extended, and I've said, this is just not for me. Then they offer you a contract. When they offer you that contract, you have to review the contract and understand what it says and sign if you're going to take it or not. Once you sign, then there are all kinds of hoops to jump through. Get your certifications, do all your paperwork. It's a lot like getting a new job. Just like you sat in HR and signed all those papers when you got the job you have now, you have to do that every 13 weeks traveling. There are tests to take, there are education things to do, and you have to make sure and meet all of those compliance requirements. The two most important people in your life during those first few days and that first week of your new contract is going to be your recruiter and your compliance officer. Now, here's a side note. If that compliance officer does not give you a whole list of stuff they've got to have and a deadline to get it in by, that is a red flag. If those people act like they don't have their shit together, then you might need to find another agency, darling. So, is it worth the increased stress to just change departments, change facilities, change roles? Because that's stressful too. Are you prepared for the constant changes of travel, maintaining a home and a travel home? New everything with every new contract? The costs out of pocket? Or are you ready for the freedom that travel gives you? Are you ready for a place to work and serve where there's no committees, no nasty grams in your inbox every time you turn around, no coworker drama, no management drama, because you're a contract and you really don't fit into that slot anymore. You're just a transient employee that'll come and go. There's no politics, no extra baggage. Well, I mean, there are politics and extra baggage, but you're immune to that because you'll be gone by the time it matters to the people who are making the noise about it. Are you ready to really be free enough to leave when your assignment is done and move on to the next adventure because you're no longer stuck? You're no longer tied into a job you really just are miserable at. So the choice is yours. So at the end of the day, I can tell you that traveling has been one of the best decisions I've made in life. It came with its price, but I have met some wonderful people. We have been from Maine to North Carolina to Memphis to Arizona and now in California. I have made friends that I will have for a lifetime. I have served some of the best people at the bedside. I have touched lives that I would never have had the opportunity to touch if I had stayed in my little bubble in southern Mississippi or southern Louisiana. So all in all, I think my journey, travel nursing, has taught me things that I would never have known before. It's given me insight into the profession and the industry where we work and serve. It has given me a perspective on the country that we live in and the most beautiful places that I've ever seen in my life. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would do it earlier than I did this time, but that's my journey. If you'd like to know more about that, let me know in the comments and I'll give you the juicy details. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make the decision whether the sacrifices that go along with traveling serve you better than the sacrifices you'll make in the options that we talked about that you have in regular facility employment or local travel. Either thing, anything you do has its own hardships, its own rewards, and it's up to you to sit down and logically look at your resources, your space, and your spot in your journey in nursing and decide what decision is best for you. If you have questions, comments, input, stories, I want to know all the juice, honey. Let me know in the comments. Follow us on social media. All of our links are in this video and in the description. We want to be your resource and your shoulder to cry on, or your friends to dish with. Let us know what's going on and let us know what you want to hear about. We're here for you. And it has been my pleasure. Y'all have a great day now. Do no harm and take no shit.